Hey guys, this is Doll Zero here. I'm going to show you how to farm Act 1 on Inferno. I've been running this farm, or this run, for a while now. I can do it pretty quickly. It takes me about 30 minutes to make a run, and generally I get anywhere from 15 to 30 rare drops. Since it's Act 1, I generally ignore the blue items, so it makes things a little quicker for me. Start off, you want to choose the quest, the Cursed Hold. That'll set you up at the furthest waypoint you can possibly be at without actually having killed the Warden. I like to definitely get up my 5 stack going and kill the Warden and the Butcher as quickly as I can. Now, if you don't know, every time you kill an elite stack while you're at level 60, you will get what's called Nephilim Valor. Every thing of Nephilim Valor you have will increase your magic find by 25%. I think it also increases your gold find. And once you hit 5, which is the maximum, you're guaranteed to get a rare drop from every elite group that you kill. So generally it's a pretty good way to farm items if you need to get some rares, which pretty much everybody who's playing is probably trying to find the best stuff they can. So typically I just want to go through and get these stacks as quickly as possible. The point for me is to get rare items, so I do want to kill off as many elites as possible. So if I see something like this, I will hit it up because I know for a fact that there's going to be an elite group when I run this. So this will be my first stack likely, and I don't know, it's a good way to get going. Generally I'll come to the Festering Woods first because there's a couple of dungeons here that are pretty easy to find and pretty close together. And they each also have an elite pack guaranteed in there, so I almost always will come out of here with at least 2 elite Valor buffs from the Nephilim. So basically I'm just going to destroy these guys here and see if I can find those other little spots real quick so I can get the Nephilim going, and then I will move into the next area. Alright, kill these guys. Now, since I'm playing in Act 1, I'm not really using all of my high quality gear. I'm basically just running with, I got a lot of decent stuff, and it's got some decent magic find, so it's kind of what I'm running with right now. I don't have the best gear on, but it does make it a little easier for me to get some better drops out of this. Act 1 isn't really, crazy for good drops. I think there's like something like a 3% chance or something, a 2% chance that you'll get a level 63 item dropped from these guys. So I don't know, I usually get like 1 per run, which ain't too bad. Sometimes I'll get a little bit more. Sometimes I won't get any, but hey, that's how it goes. I'm actually feeling pretty lucky right now because I already found 2 elite mobs, and I haven't even found the first little area to go to in here. So that means that by the time I finish with this, I will probably have 4 Nephilim stacks, possibly even 5, before I go to the cemetery, which is generally the second area I'll hit. The reason I hit the cemetery is because there's almost always going to be there's always 3 dungeons like real close to where you can jump to with the waypoint, but generally there's almost always going to be an elite in each one of those dungeons as well. The only time there isn't is occasionally you'll get to the dungeon where the Chancellor's Tomb is, and sometimes there won't be an elite guy in there if it's the Chancellor's Tomb, but the other 2 will always have one, and sometimes you'll find an extra one just in the yard area. So it's always worth going there to if you want to get your Nephilim built up real quick. As soon as I finish up with that, then I'm gonna hit up the dank cellar, and if that's there, I'll just kill those guys and get a few items real quick, and then I'll head off to fight the Butcher and the Warden. I'm already getting some decent drops of don't even have full Nephilim Valor, and I've already gotten like 5 rares. That's not too bad at all. I'm just going to ignore all these little guys. They don't really matter. Usually they don't drop anything that's any good anyway. The only time I will bother with it is if there's a bunch of them herded up into like a group, and then I can maybe kill a ton in a few seconds, and that I find is worth the time, but generally it's not going to be worth my time to fight every little dude that I come across, because most of the time, like I said, they're not going to drop anything. Man, these arcane guys can be a pain in the butt. You don't ever want to get caught standing in that fire either. It's never a fun place to be. Alright, I took him down. Let's clear this up and get out of here. Now, the only time I ever go and kill all these little guys is if I plan on using a town portal to get out of here. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get out of here if I got 5 guys swinging at me. Now, the reason I use a portal to get back to town is, well, generally it's a little quicker than me trying to fight my way through whoever is still alive. Oh, here we go. Here's the other one. Ooh, it looked like there was an elite guy when I was going in there. I'll have to go back and kill him. Now, right now I'm using a pretty basic setup with skills. I use the Revenge, and I use the War Cry, and I use the Ignore Pain, which I see pretty much everybody using. I like the Berserk because, you know, as you just saw a second ago, I got frozen up by all of those little ice blast things, and all I had to do is hit the Berserk, and it pulled me right out of the frost, like frozen state. You could ignore Nightmare with it. You could ignore Prison with it. Pretty much anything that's a movement-based effect, you can ignore while you have that. So generally, that's why I like to use Wrath of the Berserker. And sometimes you really need to up your DPS, and that's a good way to do it. Generally, when I have my normal gear on, I'm only running like... oh, those were just ghosts. I have my normal gear on, I'm only running like 16k DPS, and when I hit the Berserker I jump up to like 21 or 22k, so definitely a good little improvement there. And like I said, I mainly use it just to ignore the status effects. I really hate getting frozen, and I hate the Nightmarish even more, so that's something I do to ignore those things. So right now I'm just running through the cemetery. You're going to find the elite groups here, kill them, get their rare drops, go to the next area. So here we go. Right now I'm using Hammer of the Ancients as my secondary weapon. Generally I will switch that up and use the jump ability, just because if you're getting mobbed by a bunch of guys, sometimes they'll all surround you, and well, that's like the only way to get out from there. So, you know, it's generally a good thing to have. It's like basically an oh shit button, which is something I always like to have. But I'm in Act 1 right now, so I don't really need it. It's not vital that I'm not gonna get like blocked in and killed, hopefully. So generally I'm just gonna ignore the need for that and just use the Hammer of the Ancients. Gives me a little bit more DPS for those battle things. I'll probably do the same thing when I do the stream for farming Act 2, which will probably be coming up here a little bit later. Looks like we got some more guys over there and a treasure dude right here. Let's kill this guy first. That hammer really does a good job of taking these treasure guys out too. There we go. I'll drop that guy. Let's use this berserker and kill these guys real quick. It's already looking like a pretty good run, and I'm only like halfway through it, so hey. Alright, we got one more place left to check out here. So you gotta hit those all those little spots. You never know what you might get. Generally, as I run through these, I tend to hit the tombs up, and those square stash spots, they tend to drop a fair amount of gold, and every once in a while you'll get something else too. I also hit up all the weapon racks when I see them, just because occasionally you will get a rare drop out of them, so I feel it's always worth my time to at least click a button once. Here we go. Now, while I'm still in the cemetery, I want to talk about the little side things you might come across. There's the Jar of Souls, I believe it's called, and then you might get another little quest for like picking up some remains and putting them into a crypt. I don't do those unless I have 5 stacks of Nephilim Valor. If I have that, then you're guaranteed to get a rare drop out of those, but if you don't have it, it's just going to be a waste of time. You don't want to spend your time doing that if you're not going to get anything for it, so generally that's something I will ignore for the most part. You know, if I come across them, but if I got the 5 Valor, which I do right here, then that's something I'll go for. Alright, let's go to the old ruins and see if this dank cellar is here. First I'll hit up this weapon rack. Nothing. That body's never got anything, so I'll just ignore that. And if we're lucky, this first spot right here will be open, which it is not. Sometimes this door right here is open and you can get into what's called the dank cellar, and there's always a couple of little quilled guys in there. One of them's a boss, and generally they drop some decent stuff. You won't always get a rare from them, but I always feel it's worth my time to at least go in there and check out, because even if they don't drop a rare, they'll still drop like 3k gold, and that's generally worth it, especially if you're going to get some gems or something else that you might need anyway. Now basically I'm going to try and run through here as quickly as possible. I'm going to be headed towards the lower right corner if at all possible, since the way out of this section will always be coming from a hallway that's going that direction. So some people wonder why I can always find the exit so quickly in these. It's because I basically follow the same pattern every time.